My thinking used to be pretty shit, and I'm guessing that yours is too if you're watching this video. So back during the COVID lockdown, I was 19 at the time, in a relationship, but I still felt so very alone. I had come from college and essentially was kicked out of college to go back home because they didn't want anyone spreading the virus. But I knew that we should all lock down, and I knew that I was going to be alone for a period. But the thoughts that I was having in my head were not productive. They did not help me whatsoever. The thoughts I was having in my head were convincing me that I was going to be alone, or convincing me that I was going to be alone for the rest of my life, even though I had a partner at the time who I would call pretty often just to check in and be like, hey, how's it going? How are things? And to try and make each other not feel alone. Even then, I still felt immensely shitty. I felt like I was a bad person because I wasn't talking to people. I felt like I was never going to have friends again. I felt like I was trapped in the place that I was because these are the thoughts that my mind was telling me. And the way that your mind sees the world is the way that you experience it, right? So what you see in the world is exactly what the world gives to you. I want to change your mind, the way that your mind thinks, so that you can see a better world and start living a better life. This is how I did it. So I've read a few books that have kind of danced around the topic of mindsets. Actually, most books I read are a lot about mindset shifts. And the ones that I have been reading recently, one is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. And the second one is Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And so these two have two differing mindsets. Both are intriguing. Both I thought were really good mindsets to have, but I wasn't sure how to implement them. The first one is what I call just, what are we going to call it, Luke? I'll say hard-headed optimism. No. I'll say everything is always great. So the everything is always great mindset says, no matter what's happening, I'm fantastic. And this mindset actually works a lot of the time because believing and telling yourself and telling other people when they ask you that I'm fantastic, that things are going great, makes your mind begin to actually look for reasons why things are going great. It begins to open your mind up to see the things that are great in your life and for you to be like, oh yeah, that was great. This thing is also pretty great. That's why gratitude works so well, is when you start writing down the things you're grateful for every day, your mind starts thinking of things to be grateful for a lot easier. And so this mindset works great for that. It's also fantastic for whenever you're talking to people and you're always the guy who is fantastic. People want to be around that because people want to be fantastic too, and your emotion rubs off on them. And so this is a great effect to have. This kind of mindset wins friends. And so I'm a big supporter of this mindset because it wins friends, it helps you see the good parts of life, and just by saying that you are a specific way, you become more that way. That was a poor way of explaining it, but for instance, like if you smile whenever you don't feel like smiling, you're gonna feel a little bit happier just because you started smiling. Because the things that you say and the things that you do affect your mind. So the everything is great mindset is great for most of the time, but the mindset that I read in The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is what I'll call shit sucks, but that's okay. I think this is also another fantastic mindset to have, which is essentially looking at your life how you see it and how you're actually experiencing it. So if you're having a shitty time, you say, I'm having a shitty time. But you go further than that because you're not going to be someone who just complains all the time and brings others down with you. You go, I'm having a shitty time, and that's okay. I'm not supposed to feel happy all the time. No one is. No one's supposed to feel happy all the time. If you can't admit whenever you aren't feeling great's going to be a lot harder. And when you do admit that things are shitty right now, but you also add that addendum, but that's okay, it gets okay faster. Things start to look up. There's honesty and acceptance in this way of thinking, and that's what makes it powerful. So which one do you use? Because both of these methods are super good. What I have found is what I'll call optimistic acceptance. So the optimistic acceptance mindset has a default of the everything is always great. So whenever people are asking you how you are, say, I'm great, I'm fantastic. I'm having a great day. The weather outside is beautiful. I love the rain. Whatever it is, it's going great in your day. Because most problems can be solved just by thinking. Most problems are better just by thinking they are. Just by thinking them. Most problems are better just by thinking them better. Essentially, with optimistic acceptance, you use everything is always great, this mindset, as a default until you can't. So most problems are going to get better. Most problems are going to roll off your back just simply by you believing that they are okay, by you believing, I am fantastic right now, and this is why. And looking at the bright side of things will honestly make you happier. But whenever this doesn't work, you need to switch to shit sucks, and that's okay. You need to switch to that mindset because this promotes acceptance within yourself. It helps you get over the big hurdles of life a lot faster. Because I've tried the everything is always great mindset for long periods of time, and even when shit's really terrible, and it has been actively terrible, I have tried to be like, this is great, this is fantastic, but it's not, and deep down I know it's not, and I feel like I'm putting on a face. After so long of trying to make it better and it not working, you just start to feel sadder and sadder. And whenever you start feeling this is when you need to admit, okay, this is shitty, and that's all right. I'm going to be okay. No matter what happens, I am going to handle it. That's another fantastic mindset to have. Write that one down. Write that on a sticky note and put it on your wall. No matter what happens, I will handle it. Also, whenever you find yourself with a problem that's lingering, something that you have to use the acceptance part of this for, saying shit sucks and that's okay, talk to a friend about it. Talk to a close male friend who has your back, who you can be emotional with, who you can be 100% with. And if you don't have one of those, start developing your friendships. I'll make a video a little bit later about how to develop deeper friendships, but do what you can to develop deeper friendships with brothers so that you can feel like you can be yourself in front of people, because that makes your life so much better. Is when you feel like you have someone who you can just authentically be 100% in front of, you can say, yeah, my shit sucks and this is why. That's life-changing. If this has helped, drop a like, consider subscribing if you want to see more videos from a small YouTuber on self-improvement like me. Act now, become unstoppable.